Can you tell me what a woman is?
A woman? I mean, a woman is someone who identifies with femininity.
So just let's pause. That's not a definition. That's like saying a cup is a thing that looks like a cup.
I find it extremely disrespectful for you to say that college is a scam, not just to me, but everyone here that's also going to school.
What's your favorite Charles Dickens book?
That was like push for, like I come for, like that's like all around there.
No, tell me which one? How about your favorite Jane Austen novel?
Oh, I don't know who that is.
All humans should have health care, regardless if
What
they're
is health care?
the right to see a doctor.
At any time, for any reason?
Yes.
Paid for by somebody else?
Paid by the rich.
Is abortion health care?
Yes.
Got it. So we should pay for other people's abortions. Got it.
Charlie Kirk, amazing performance there, but amazing accomplishments. You and Turning Point USA, seriously, you helped save America. Welcome back, Charlie. How are you?
It's great to see you. The country's in a much better place since
Totally.
the last time I saw you.
Feels wonderful. By the way, has anybody ever gotten to the microphone and just said no and just turned away, like after you slaughter everybody else?
We have some fun clips. It's kind of like being in the Roman Colosseum with the gladiator, which is like, send me more. And sometimes they'll come up and be like, yeah, I was going to disagree, but instead, Charlie, I just want to say, here's the 5 things I agree with you on. So
It's so wild. And Charlie, you are basically self-educated. Would you call yourself self-educated?
autodidactic, yeah.
Autodidactic. Okay, I know what that means.
Which is, autodidact.
You did it
right?
by yourself. That's a
correct, yeah.
more sophisticated way of saying.
I didn't go to college, high school graduate, but when I first got into this space 13 years ago, I made a promise I would outwork everybody. And I spoke at more events, traveled the country for 330 days a year for a decade straight. And large in part thanks to President Trump and his movement, we've now seen this kind of idea of turning young people to the right materialize into a generational reality.
Let's talk about that generational reality and some of the numbers. I do want to come back to how you pull all this stuff off, but I think you saw CNN, not to cite CNN, but there is a radical shift happening and Democrats are in total crisis.
Oh, I love to see it. And one of the reasons why they're in crisis is that the problem is happening from the bottom up. Traditionally, Democrats, when they have a bad election, they can go back to their roots and say, well, at least we have the college campuses. At least we have the kids. At least we have the students. This time they go back this, wait a second. Our core coalition is falling apart. You see, Greg, the Democrats, the reason they're in crisis is that their coalition of workers is gone, of union members is gone, of black voters is going away, of Latino voters is going away, and then young people. What is the Democrat Party anymore? It's people that are permanently dependent on government welfare and people at the highest income ladder that are college educated. That's not enough to win a popular national election or control the House or the Senate. And especially when it comes to younger voters, what we've done at Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action is we have now created a movement that is living even beyond the election. Again, President Trump, he started this, and we're continuing it, where we're drawing crowds of 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people on these college campuses. And you can see from these viral clips online, this movement is accelerating. It is not slowing down. And the Democrat Party is now in the wilderness.
It is really amazing, and I'm so glad we're in this spot. Let me ask you, is it too early to talk about 2028?
It's never too early, Greg. But
oh, good.
There's so much news going on now, but it's never too early.
So, I mean, what I hear from the pros, J.D. Vance, essentially, number one, most powerful vice president pretty much ever. Even like Dick Cheney looked like an intern compared to that guy. And he has a lock on it, and that's a good thing. No?
I love J.D. I'm 100% behind him, totally and completely. I am very focused on what President Trump is doing now, but as far as what's coming next, look, here's what I love about J.D. Vance, is that he's a defender of President Trump and his agenda, which is definitely different than the previous vice presidents that we saw. But also J.D. Vance is he's young, he's energetic, he's wise, he's thoughtful. And as someone who wants to see the next generation become the most conservative generation in history, what an amazing legacy item for President Donald Trump to be able to say that he has completely recalibrated American politics by allowing his vice president to then continue this for the next 4-8 years, even beyond.
How do you make sure that the movement doesn't become content, doesn't rest on its laurels? I mean, I know you're not going to do that, but yeah.
And one of the ways that we at Turning Point make sure that doesn't happen is the college campuses are endless opportunities for social change. We are still in the intellectual minority when it comes to the professors. We're still in the structural minority. We're still in the administrative minority. So that kind of creates some rebellion energy. And when you are trying to overtake an institution, you're never bored, right? You're never complacent. So just for example, Greg, when we go to these college campuses and they're chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, when they're saying they want another intifada, when they're burning Israeli and American flags, that then allows us as grassroots conservatives to keep on fighting and to stay on our toes and not grow complacent.
Let me ask you this. Conservative media, which I love, I'm a part of it, and we do a lot of media criticism, and I think there's a role for that. But I almost feel like maybe we need to move on. They've canceled themselves. And I saw a show on another network, Fox, and they were leading with something that, Don Lemon said. And those things don't matter anymore, do they?
And to an extent, I mean, yes and no. I think here's the cool thing, is that we've created our new media. And that's what I love about the success of Newsmax, is that the criticism of kind of understanding what the left is thinking, why they're thinking, that's endlessly fun. But what's different is 10 years ago, look at all the new media outlets that we have. The new podcasting, my podcast. Your show is hot as a pistol right now, Greg. I mean, people are talking about it all across the country. And what we've done is we have not just complained on the right, we've created. And the fact that we have created has allowed us to now reach millions of people outside of the box in ways that are decentralized in a non-traditional, heterodox way that I think gives power back to the consumer and back to the American people. I will say, though, that the mainstream media, they're going through an identity crisis and a financial crisis. These companies are going under. They're not making money. It is harder than ever to sustain the business model of just saying Donald Trump's bad for these 5 or 6 or 7 different reasons. And that's one of the major reasons why the left can't podcast.
Yeah, they're just why are we so much better at that?
Well, because podcasting is rooted in truth. You see, your show's different because you're unscripted, you have real conversations. That's why people love watching you. But if you watch, CNN, for example, it's 5 minutes scripted, 95 people on a panel, and each person says one thing for 35 seconds. You can do mass propaganda that way. It's very hard to push propaganda and be popular in a podcast environment, because eventually the host is going to figure out if you're a fraud. Eventually, Joe Rogan's going to figure out if you're full of nonsense. Eventually, Theo Von or Tim Dillon, they're going to say, wait a second, that's a bunch of BS. They're going to call you out on it. Where in CNN, oh, sorry, we got to go to break. Where the podcasting medium itself will not be rewarded by the audience if it's synthetic, if it's fake, and if it's sterile. Instead, the podcast environment is the most raw and authentic and transparent medium we have available to us today.
Real quick on synthetic and fake, David Hogg.
Oh yeah, the picture of alpha masculinity in America.
There's something. Was he a Soros creation, or was that? Is there any truth to that?
Well, as far I can't speak to that because I don't want to get sued. No, I'm kidding. But as far as like David Hogg, this is a group of Democrats who obviously thought, we want to go win young people. So let's go have David Hogg go be the vice chair of the DNC. He's potentially launching primaries against other Democrats. He's complimenting Jasmine Crockett as the future of the Democrat Party. And this goes to show the Democrat Party has no message, they have no messenger, they have no leader, and they have no ethos. And we as conservatives need to remain on offense and keep them in the wilderness.
10 years ago this month, President Trump declared. And I had a feeling, it is so amazing. I got to show you this sometime. I really had a feeling that he could win 50 states. It was a weird kind of, which obviously sounded stupid at the time, but I feel like next time around 19.
You were onto something, obviously.
Well, I feel like, look, in 2028, we're going to see something even that we can't even comprehend right now. Charlie, you mentioned being an autodidact. How do you find the time? Seriously, I mean, Jane Austen, I can name 1 or 2. You probably read them all. I mean, how did you pull that off? How do you pull it off?
Well, I try to layer. So if I'm working out, I listen to a podcast. When I'm traveling, I'm reading. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. When you don't do that, you have a lot of extra time on your hands. I don't go to necessarily, the local bar with friends endlessly. And I say that only to look, I take what I do so seriously that the most important things is going to church and having connection to the divine through Jesus Christ. Second is my family, my kids. And the third is my passion, which is my work. And I try to read 2 hours a day. I listen to podcasts. I listen to shows like yours. I'm constantly absorbing information and trying to read 100 books a year, which is really hard. But, with audiobooks, it's increasingly easy. But you have to love to learn if you're going to be a position like I'm in, which is to teach the next generation.
Real quick, when do you find those 2 hours? How do you structure your day?
Well, so I wake up, I do my show every single day, the Charlie Kirk Show podcast radio program. It's on hundreds of radio stations. I'm done by 11 Arizona time. So I take a little rest, able to work out, listen while I'm working out, drive to and from work, 30 minutes each way. And then you have some meetings, obviously. I have a day job at Turning Point USA. You have 1,000 people to manage there. But if you prioritize it, you'll make it happen. It's amazing how much time people waste in their daily schedule where they just have fat that they need to trim or stuff that's not necessarily that important. And for me, learning also connects directly to the show, directly to the podcast, directly to what we're doing every single day.
Amazing and inspiring. Charlie Kirk, continued success.
And to you. love your program, Greg. Seriously.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Charlie. Put
Thank
it
you, my
there.
friend. Thank
All
you.
right. Hey, we'll be right back.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.